Heyo everybody, Haku here with, I guess sort of a miscellaneous, One Piece discussion. Like, this is just going to be a discussion with a bunch of different topics that came up reading this recent chapter, 820, and, what I think of them, and how I think it's gonna, like, affect the future, things like that. And the main bulk of this discussion is going to be about, like, how the crew is going to split and what sort of arcs I think that we're going to get out of the split crews. Now, before we even get into the crew split, I do think we're going to fight Jack here at Zou, and I think that they're going to defeat Jack easily enough. Like, it's not going to be easy, but I think it's going to be one of those things where it's there to show that, okay, Jack was this hugely, immensely powerful guy, but then all of our alliance is going to work together and they're going to defeat him pretty easily. So it's going to be there to show readers, okay, it's like a gauge for the alliance's strength. Not just individual strength, just to show that, okay, if they work together, they really do stand a chance against a Yonko, because working together, they were even able to take down Jack. So I think that's the part that Jack is going to play here. He's not just going to be a bowling pin to get knocked over, but I think he's going to be more difficult to defeat than that. But I think that his defeat serves that purpose of showing, okay, they're strong enough to take on a person of this caliber. Now during this, I do think we're going to get Zou talking to at least Luffy, and I really, I don't know if Zou's going to die or not. I did kind of predict it, but I do think it would also be interesting if Zou turned out to be like somebody, like it turned out to be something that talks to the minks every once in a while. Maybe the minks will use it as their ship. Like, that'd be so cool, just the elephant, giant elephant walking around an entire island size as their ship. That'd be really cool, but again, that might not happen either. We could just have the minks leave Zou and Zou wanders on like it does with the rest of the minks that aren't the combat oriented minks, not the soldiers. Even though they can all fight, they're obviously not all soldiers. But so yeah, I'm not really sure what will happen with Zou. We have a lot of options. Zou could die here. Zou could join the alliance as sort of the Minx' ship. Or Zou could just carry on its way and do whatever without the alliance. Now we'll get into, I think the crew is going to split into 3, and of course most of this has already been like all but confirmed. And I think it's going to stick the way that they said they were going to split themselves, with a little bit of deviation. And what I mean by that, I think our first group, the group we're going to follow and go on to see their next journey, their next arc, is the group of Luffy, Pekoms, Nami, Chopper, Brook, and I'm going to say Carrot as well. I think it was kind of hinted at when Carrot said the infiltration sounded exciting. And then I even think more when we had the conversation with Carrot, Pedro, and Wanda, and we got the confirmation that Carrot is younger than Pedro and Wanda. I think because she's young and it sounded exciting, I would absolutely love to see Carrot stow away or just run off and join Luffy's group and go to the Wholecake Island Arc with them. And I think that'll be our next arc after Zou, is the Wholecake Island Arc with that group. I think that'd be amazing, and I really hope that Carrot is a part of that, because I do want to see more of the mingling between the Minks and the Samurai and Strawhats, and I would absolutely love to see a Mink or a... I'd love to see a Mink or a Samurai, like, full main Straw Hat member and not just an Alliance member. And if we get more development for Carrot, I think it'd be cool if it were her. Now, of course, I do not think it's going to be as simple as running in, rescuing Sanji, and leaving. Because we went without this group of Straw Hats for so long, I think a lot of people are going to be upset with me saying this, but I think it's going to be not quite Dressrosa length, but I think it's going to be a pretty long arc, the Wholecake Island one. it's going to be near Dressrosa length because we're going to get into a lot with Big Mom's crew and with Germa 66. And with Capone's crew, we have a shit ton to get into here. Like, there is so much to do for Wholecake Island, so I do think it's going to be a long arc, and at the end of that arc, Pekoms may end up joining as an ally, but I honestly think that Pekoms is going to go back to Big Mom. I don't think he's going to stick with the Strawhats, even though he's indebted to them. He might be their friend, but I don't think he's going to join them. I would love if Caesar joined, and it seems kind of likely to me that Caesar could join after this arc. And the same is true of Carrot. If Carrot stows away and joins this group, I would absolutely love if Carrot ended up joining the full crew because she like proves herself to Luffy or something during this arc. It'd be really interesting. The next group, I think that the sub is going to take the Heart Pirates, Law, Kinemon, Momo, Kanjuro, Raizo, Zoro, and Robin to Wano. They're going to go there in the sub, and when all of our group, like, it's going to be complex and complicated when Luffy's group gets to Wano when they're meeting up with everyone. I don't think it's going to be as simple as just finding everyone and meeting up with them, because that'd be sort of a boring story, so it's going to be more complex than that. But when we get there, we're going to have sort of a flashback arc of showing what they've done on Wano, and I don't think they're going to do much. Just maybe they do some sort of infiltration in their flashback where they try to get the copy of the poneglyph, whether they succeed or fail. And also I think they might go into more of the samurai finding out Zoro has the sword of Shusui, right? I'm not sure of the name. I think Shusui is Ryuma's sword that Zoro not really took from him. Zoro kind of not even inherited. What is the word? I guess Ryuma just sort of left it to him. Can't think of a decent word for that. Yeah, I can't think of a more succinct word than Ryuma just left the sword to him. I think its name is Shusui. And the samurai are going to find out about that. We're going to learn a little bit more of the samurai's allies in Wano. And we may learn a bit more about the Shogun and his forces. And I think it'd be really interesting if the Oars, whatever Oars and Oars Jr. were, whatever their species was at Wano, and the Shogun was maybe one of Oars' species. I think that'd be interesting, not super likely, but it would be interesting, since I'm pretty sure Little Oars Jr. was the one that, Little Oars Jr. was the one that Ace gave a hat to at Wano. I'm pretty sure that happened at Wano. And the original Oars that was sort of reanimated, that's a good word. Reanimated by Moria. That Oars was like part of his army to try to take down Kaido. That was Moria's goal there. So honestly, if he was going after Kaido and he was planning to use Oars to do it, maybe they do live at Wano, and the island pullers, or whatever they call those giant creatures, they are from Wano. Now, as for our last group, I say perhaps Zoe. Perhaps Zoe will be part of this last group, like if it joins as a crew, like a cruise ship, like the ship of the Minx or whatever. Or, if it decides to ally with them, it could go, but if it dies or if it doesn't, then Zoe will not be part of this group. But I think the group will be like the Minx forces, like not all of the Minx, just like Nekomamushi, Inoarashi, and the Guardians of the Forest and the Musketeers. I think they will join up as a crew, and they're the ones going to look for Marco. And I think that without having any Straw Hats with them, it would be kind of they just wouldn't seem connected enough to the rest of the story. So I think they need to have at least one Straw Hat with them, and I think that Frankie and Usopp, some way or another, may end up going with the Minx to find Marco. And when they go find Marco, I do think they're going to go up against Weevil, and it's going to be again in a flashback arc, but I think it's going to be really cool to see, because I think they're going to take down Weevil pretty easily. And again, some people might not like that I say that, but the way that things work, a lot of times in One Piece, a lot of things are like super connected really well, and they're super deep, and everything has a deep meaning. And that kind of thing makes like theorists go crazy. Of course, I make theories here and there. And I think that sometimes we as fans forget that not everything has to be, like, not everything is super that deeply connected. Not everything has some great meaning a long way down the road. Because, I mean, there are plenty of things that have happened in the past in One Piece that didn't play into anything in the future, and I doubt they will play into anything in the future. And Weevil's kind of a big character, being a Shichibukai, to do that with, but I think that he's not going to be that important. I think that maybe when they find him, they're going to fight him, maybe struggle a little bit, and then like maybe Marco shows up and all but one-shots him. Something like that to show Marco's strength, to show he's really powerful, and also just to show like, he's like, oh, Weevil was just like a fake, he wasn't really Whitebeard's son, Miss Bakin was just using him and fooling him. And I think that that's all they need to do for that character. There doesn't need to be some deep connection like behind Bakin and Weevil. They can just be that simple that they were a fake and now they've been exposed and they've been taken down. So then they all meet up at Wano and we have our Wano arc. And I'm not going to get into the Wano arc or any discussion on that because, like I said, if we have a super long, like almost Dressrosa length arc for the Wholecake Island arc, or maybe even longer than Dressrosa, because we're dealing with a Yonko and her allies, Capone, Germa 66. There's a lot happening there, even if they don't plan on fighting them, that I could see it being a very, very long arc. I think that's about it, because I don't want to get too much into Wano. Like I said, there's a couple things I think we're getting, like, I think we could be getting the Shogun is whatever species or race that Oars was, and that race may live there whether they're allied or against Kinemon's group of samurai. They may even be allied with Kinemon's group of samurai, and the human samurai are the bad guys, the Shogun and whatnot. So, yeah, there's that. And I also think that we're definitely going to be getting flashbacks with Momonosuke and Oden's past, and like how Odin was killed and how Momonosuke's mother was killed, things like that. So there's a lot that's going to happen, but it's too far in the future for like me to guess at any sort of specific order. And there's, I think, 2, maybe 3 other subjects I want to like bring up real quick, just because I don't plan on making a full discussion or a full theory on them, because my views on them are pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I could make like a quick 3 to 5 minute discussion or theory on them, but I don't think there's a purpose in that. I can just put it in here. First up is where the log poses meet. I think it's definitely Wano because of how it was brought up. Ino Arashi said that's where you're supposed to learn of who made the stones. Obviously at Wano you would learn of the Kozuki. He also said that you're on the right path, just keep following that. And they're planning to go to Wano after Wholecake anyway. So of course he's like, keep following that, you're going to get to Wano, which is where we're going anyway. It's all redundant now that you know this stuff. So I think where they all lead to is definitely Wano. I could of course be wrong, but it just seems so likely to me that it's just that simple answer. Oda doesn't always go for the simple answers, but in this case I feel like Wano is the simple answer and it's also the correct one. This also brings up something interesting because like I said before, how it felt like Shanks and his crew seem like they almost might be like guarding Raftel and guarding, like if they do indeed have the Last Road Poneglyph, or if they are collecting devil fruits to hide them, it seems like they're protecting the world from whatever is at Raftel. And that would also make sense because why else would Crocus just happen to live at Twin Capes? And then Rayleigh is halfway through the Grand Line at the Sabati Archipelago. And then we have Odin, who, if he wasn't killed a couple years ago, because it had to have been pretty recently he was killed if Momonosuke remembers all of it, and Momonosuke's only 8. So he had to be killed recently, and that's why Odin would have been at Wano. It's like they're stationed at at points through the Grand Line to... They're stationed at points through the Grand Line where they're like, I could have made an entire theory on this, I guess, but like, it seems like they're like trying to protect Raftel's secrets and also maybe guide the way for the next Pirate King and make sure the next Pirate King isn't somebody who would abuse that, because of just how they're set up and what they tell people and what they told the Strawhats. It all seems just so... It seems too convenient for it to be by chance. It seems like those three live in those three specific places, and they are all people who were confirmed to have seen Raftel and seen the secrets of the world with Gold Roger. So if they've seen the secrets of the world, they know it like Gold Roger did. They happen to live at the beginning of the Grand Line, the middle point, and Wano, which is the end before you have to find the road poneglyphs. That all makes sense that they are sort of like guideposts trying to protect Raftel and whatever this secret is, trying to protect it from falling into the wrong hands. And lastly, I wanted to bring up that it seemed very obvious to me, said it in the review, that because Ace was at Wano with Whitebeard, because that's where he made the hat for Oars Jr., it seems to me that that has to be who Momonosuke was confusing Gold Roger with. Ace is his son, and I think that'll come out to light eventually. They'll say it outright eventually. But I like that they're not treating us like Oda's not treating us like we're stupid. He's just hinting at it like, okay guys, Momonosuke met Ace at one point when he was a child, but he barely remembers it. And I think we're just supposed to sort of get that. We don't need to have it thrown at our face to understand it. That's who he was mistaking for Roger. And I think that's about it for this discussion. I'm sorry I droned on for a very long time. I could have split this into multiple discussions, but instead of splitting this and like dividing it over a week or something, I just wanted to go over it real quick, just in one video, give you guys all the discussion that I had in me. I don't know what I was going for there. So like if you all liked it. I thank you so much for watching. Comment down there, tell me what you think of all these topics. I do answer comments, so we can talk back and forth a bit if you want. I guess that's maybe about it. Subscribe if you want more One Piece and Tower of God, The Walking Dead, a bunch of other stuff, because I do at least 3 videos on each of those series every single week. And follow on Twitter for updates when I'm posting a video, or say when maybe when I need to push something back, like I had to do last night with my discussion on Tower of God. So things like that. Also, before I go, I want to say that I think next week, since we don't have a new One Piece chapter and I'm not going to be able to do a review or a live reaction, I want to do 1 or 2 discussions. And I think I want to make one or both of those a collaboration. If any YouTubers around my size, or I guess around my size, or any size, I guess. Like if you're an active YouTuber, I'm sorry if you're like, if you're not active, then the collaboration doesn't really have a lot of a point, I guess. But yeah, if somebody around my size wants to collaborate on something, I'm completely game for it. I don't know how well it would work out. We could just talk and try to figure something out, and maybe do a collaboration next week in place of the live reaction and review. And if not, if nobody wants to do a collaboration, of course I'll just do a discussion. I'll figure something out to do in that spot, a video or 2. So I'm just pointing out that I'm not just going to leave the week empty of One Piece content. I'm still going to have a video or 2 up in the spot that the live reaction and review would have already been in. Yeah, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. Sorry I feel like I talked a bit off topic a lot in this one. I thank you all so much for watching. I think I already said that twice, and I will see you all next time.